Hey guys, welcome back to yet another video. Today I'm going to recap week 8. What a boring week this was, honestly, since there was only actually one game that was even within double digits. Every game other than one had a double-digit score in difference. So we'll recap it. We'll see my reactions to each of these games. And yeah. First up, we had the Chargers winning 37-10 over the Vikings. Let's talk about the Vikings first. Was Carson Wentz really that injured going into this game? Because if so, why did he even get the nod to start? And yeah, Wentz ended up going out and before the game ended, and now he's going to be out for the year. If I realized that part, I would have just picked the Chargers to win. And when I was looking at this game, I was like, oh, Wentz is probably good to go. And, not really having that much of an injury, all that kind of stuff. No, it's been there for a while. Aaron Jones came back for the rushing game, yet he didn't really do too much. And the Vikings just did not play that well. The Chargers, however, I don't want to say too much quite yet, but it's a positive sign compared to the few weeks before when they faced the Giants and had their 3 losses. This is a good step back up in winning this game 37-10. Can they end up getting even better? Actually starting to perform again? I forgot who they play this upcoming week, but they got to play well against them in order for me to fully believe in them again and how they can make the playoffs and all that kind of stuff. Because this week they play good, but I got to see it next week and all that stuff in order to fully believe with them. But overall, this is a good Chargers win. The Vikings just played horribly. There's nothing too much else to say with this one. Next up, we had what happened in this game. The Dolphins winning 34-10 against the Falcons. Yeah, this is how shocked I am right now. Because, this is a team that was supposed to be lying down and just giving up the rest of the season type of team. How did they win this much? Falcons, what happened? Tua played well. 4 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Stephon Achane played all right, but okay, I guess you played Kirk Cousins this time. I guess that at least somewhat said something. But that does not have what? I'm just speechless, honestly, because I watched Red Zone and I was still more sold how, because honestly, in this past Sunday, I was a little busy as well to have fully checked in. But seriously, just what happened? Bijan didn't do much either. You start Kirk Cousins, yet you have him pass 31 times and only have the rushing game go 17 overall. When your rushing game is your strong suit, yeah, you guys are set to lose to that point, actually. You just deserve to lose to that point. You should not be doing passing instead of rushing when you're a rushless team. Okay, that's exactly why. Okay. Yeah, this is just pathetic loss in the Falcons. Yeah. Next up, we had the one game that was within a single score. And yay, welcome just to the winner circle. Getting your first win, 39-38. Oh, man. Of course, it had to be against the Bengals before your bye as well. If I I already had in my mind if there was going to be one game that you would win, it would end up being this one right before your bye. Okay. Justin Fields is played all right. 244 yards, 1 touchdown. The rushing game was able to get really good as well. And Breece Hall had a passing touchdown as well. Breece Hall had such a day on Sunday. Having the passing touchdown, 133 yards, and did he have anything receiving? 14? All right, that's good enough. But he had a pretty good rushing game day, and Flacco, man. Going to the Bengals now. The Bengals rushing game was able to do pretty good as well. It's just more so the defenses did not do anything. Okay, but here's the thing though. The Jets defense was able to hold the Broncos and the Panthers to 13 and then allow almost 3 times that on a per game basis to the Bengals. Meanwhile, the Jets could not score anything. The Jets is more towards the team that's just going to be like, okay, are they going to be good offensively or are they going to be good defensively? It's going to be like that now, in my mind, because what happened? Now, I get the Bengals defense isn't really that great either, and the Broncos defense is pretty good overall. And it's to at least explain those 2 games. So we'll see what happens in the future, but yeah, this is just a big shootout. The Jets finally got their win. It's a good day for Jets fans. Next up, we had the New England Patriots winning 32-13 against the Cleveland Browns. Okay, I expected this one to be a lot closer, like within that single digits in swing, but I at least expected the winner in this one. Vic May played excellent. I didn't think he would do as great against this Browns defense, which I guess is not really being consistent right now, other than the 5 sacks Myles Garrett got. Because single game record, yet the Browns just couldn't do anything else at all, defensively or offensively, really, because Dillon Gabriel just did not play well. Drake May played well. The rushing game ended up doing good for the Patriots. Can't really say the same with the Browns. But I don't think I really have much else to say with this one because this is pretty much how I expected this game to go. With the much closer score, though. Next up, we had the Philadelphia Eagles winning 38-20 against the New York Giants. RIP to the Giants season. The reason why I say that is because Cam Scatterboo did end up getting hurt this game, and at this point, he's the offense for this team because Jackson Dart, he did play at least kind of well this game, but I don't trust him without a solid rushing game behind him. And Cam Scatterboo at least lit some bits up. Maybe Tyrone Tracy could at least cut some slack of Cam Scatterboo, but I don't think Tracy's going to be like that good to where the Giants will win games because of him. Maybe not entirely Scatterboo either, but at least he's more towards that direction as he was a rookie this year. Going to the Eagles side, yeah, they're actually playing good this time. They just essentially solved the not playing 4 quarters stuff now because they played 4 quarters last week against the Vikings, and now they have against the Giants this week. If they go back to not playing 4 quarters next week, I don't know what to say about this team. I seriously will not know because Saquon had such a good day. Jalen Hurts had a good day. You had 2 rushes with over 100 yards with Saquon and Tank Bigsby, who I remember was on the Jaguars not that long ago. Maybe it was. But what's today? This offseason? I think so. But yeah, the Eagles just absolutely played well. The Giants' defense has not been doing well since their collapse in the fourth quarter against the Broncos game. And when you have a defense like that, and an offense that's not like super great, you're not going to win a lot of games. And that's probably just how the Giants' season is going to be at this point. That's even more so the RIP than probably Cam Scatterboo at this point, because Scatterboo is the main guy for your offense right now, because Dart is a little bit wish-washy right now. Of course, he is a rookie. He can improve, but at the same time, I just don't think Jeff McDowell is going to do that well for this season. So, RIP to your season, and we'll see what you guys could end up doing next year. Next up, we had a get-right game for the Bills, winning 40-9 against the Carolina Panthers. Trubisky even played in some of it due to it just being an utter blowout. At least that's all I can assume with this game, honestly. I didn't exactly hear the reason why, but I'm assuming that's the reason why. Josh Allen had 163 yards and a touchdown. And the rushing game, oh boy. James Cook had 216 yards and 2 touchdowns. Yeah, the Panthers' defense is just not good. And I expected that going into this season, but I don't know what to make of this Panthers team, man. At least there's one thing for sure. Without Bryce Young, the Panthers absolutely suck. And that just absolutely played into the rule for Andy Dalton. He didn't play all too bad, at least, because he did have like 7.3 average, and there is other QBs, Dylan Gabriel, who has consistently had like 4, 5, maybe a max 6 average. Being in the 7s is pretty all right. But with the rushing game, we're absolutely just seeing Rico Dowdle just take up all the carries. Going to take up all the carries soon, because Chuba Hubbard's just not been that great in the past few weeks since he's come back from injury. He did have a rushing touchdown, which saved his fantasy performance, but yeah, 34 yards. There was no receptions from Chuba Hubbard. He's officially fallen off outside of the touchdown. There's really not much else to say with Chuba Hubbard there. But overall, this game was just an absolute get-right game for the Bills. They ended up losing the previous 2 that they had before the bye. And now this week ended up being that ultimate get-right week. And I think the Bills is going to be winning games again. Now we have another get-well. I don't even want to recap this one, honestly. Ravens win 30-16. But where do I begin? The penalties for the Bears just absolutely got them this game. Because 11 penalties to 79 yards. Are you kidding me? Like, come on, man. And Caleb didn't play like too badly. 7.5 average is at least somewhat good. But our defense just did not allow, just let Tyler Huntley to do even better. Now, if there is some solace to all this, our cornerbacks are fairly injured. So at least with that, we're allowing the passing. But at the same time, it always hurts to lose this badly, especially when the Bears just overall just did not play too well. And I say Caleb Williams didn't play all too badly with this, but you got to realize that most of the passes were not too great. Outside of like a few good ones. Because 42, 27, 25. Those three got like 100 of the yards. Like nearly 100 of the yards. Now, of course, you can say that with like any of them. With any like any team, but in any game. But at the same time, Caleb is just, I want to believe in him. And he's shown signs throughout the past year and a half so far, but he got to take that next step. He just does. And the defense just allowed the Ravens to do whatever they wanted in this game. It doesn't help for the penalties for trying to come back in this game because, well, it was already set in stone by the with those penalties as well. So I don't really want to say too much else. And yeah. Next up, we have the Houston Texans winning 26-15 against the 49ers. I'm not gonna lie. I did not expect the Texans to do this well offensively. I thought this was going to be more of a defensive game. The 49ers did pretty much how I expected of them offensively because they are going up against a tough Houston Texans defense. I just didn't expect the Texans offense, especially with how they've been outside of the Titans and the Ravens games, to have done this well offensively. CJ Stroud having actually a very good game, 30 of 39 for 318 yards. That's actually very good. He did have an interception. 49ers defense is pretty good, but I guess this kind of does have a little bit of concern on the 49ers defense if CJ Stroud could do this. Maybe it was Nico Collins, actually, because Nico Collins was hurt. Is Nico Collins the problem? Anyways, the rushing game for the Texans is doing good. Woody Marks is absolutely doing the work for the Texans. And McCaffrey couldn't do anything for the 49ers rushing game either. But at the same time, Texans defense is pretty good. At this point, I kind of just have to I usually would expect just low-scoring games for the Texans because good defense, not so great offense outside of this game. But, yeah, there's not really much else to say. I just did not expect this result. Next up, we have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers going up against the New Orleans Saints. The Buccaneers, they ended up not doing too great offensively. They all injured, but I expected about this amount of point total actually for the Buccaneers. The Saints, I thought they would have done better offensively actually because I picked the Saints against the spread thinking that it would have been like a close game with it being about like that 23-20 type of score, somewhere around there, but the Saints just ended up not doing anything. And I'm pretty sure it came out today that Tyler Shuck is going to be the starter moving forward. And honestly, that's probably going to be the move for the Saints because Rattler's just not done anything in the past few weeks. And you do also kind of have to wonder how Shuck would do after this performance. But at the same time, he was not practicing with those starters. So maybe you do end up seeing something better next week. But overall, this is just a bad game for Rattler, and his time starting is definitely coming to an end since Shuck is starting now. But yeah, this game was just not that exciting of one to watch. Next up, we had the Broncos winning 44-24 against Cowboys. Yeah, I kind of expected it to be like if it was this score for the opposite to be because, well, okay, you know what? Maybe it was just Dak Prescott going up against an actually good defense for the Cowboys 24 end of things. But the Broncos getting 44? They could barely even get to even 7 in the first 3 quarters against the Giants. Like, what? And Troy Franklin had a day. Courtland Sutton had a day. This whole Broncos offense just had a day. Because 247... Okay. You know what? Maybe the defense did do quite a bit of it because 2 interceptions. How much of these no defensive touchdowns? It at least got to have like some bits of. Where was the 2 interceptions? What? Okay, one of them was just at the end of the half, and I'm surprised that it wasn't even like. Was 6 touchdowns and only like 400 yards? I guess it kind of does make sense, but at the same time, it's like the Broncos just absolutely has been doing well on offense. I maybe it's more so that the Cowboys defense is that bad. I know the Cowboys face the Cardinals next week, so we'll see what happens that game. Because you know the Cardinals, they either play up or down to competition, and the Cowboys is one of them I'm not entirely sure about right now. But at the end of the day, it probably was just the Cowboys' defense being that bad to where the Broncos ended up doing well offensively like that, and there's really not much else to say. Next up, we'll do a relatively quick one here. 38-14 against the Titans for the Colts, and Daniel Jones looked good. Jonathan Taylor looked good. The Titans didn't do too much. Is that really... I think that's just a summary, pretty much, because yikes, otherwise. Jonathan Taylor had 153 yards in 12 carries. And Daniel Jones had 21 of 29 for 272. This is just how the Colts game, and this is just how the Colts are. They just dogpile on those bad teams. And good teams, they probably do have a little bit of fight, but against the bad teams, the Colts just dogpiling them. That's really not much else to say with this one. Next up, we had the Packers winning 35-25 against the Steelers. Yeah. Jordan Love absolutely played well today. Well, yesterday. Sunday. I don't know why you were saying today, Tuesday, yesterday, or whatever. Jacobs didn't do too well, but Emmanuel Wilson did for the Washington game. And Rodgers, he did what he could against the Packers, but the Packers was just too much on the Steelers. And this game does bode like the question to the Steelers defense. That was on the beginning of the season for me. And the Packers, is this game getting into the... Are they trying to get me to, like, actually just pick the Packers as, like, potential Super Bowl stuff again? Because, I'm not gonna lie, they did after week 1 and week 2, but the Browns one was like, okay, calm down. And now, in this game, it's like another one where it's like, are they trying to have me be like that again for the Packers? I don't want that at all as a Bears fan, but like they're being that much of a team to look out for right now. Like, it's hard to ignore. It's pretty much like that. And yeah, the Packers just beat the Steelers. And finally, we had 28-7. The Chiefs won 28-7 against Commanders. I don't know what happened there. Mahomes. He threw 2 interceptions, but otherwise had a pretty good day. And the Chiefs defense had a good day as well, with Mariota only having 1 touchdown and 2 interceptions. So, watching game for Washington just could not get anything done. And you had in Kwasky Merritt getting 25 yards, you had Mariota getting 28. And the Chiefs rushing game, you actually had 2 running backs that outdid Mahomes total. I know there was a little bit of Mahomes being the leading rusher towards the beginning of the season, which is crazy for a quarterback to be, but I kind of did expect that. And after a not so great back half for Pacheco and Hunt, but I think they're actually at least doing decently well, at least just recently, to boost the Chiefs offense. But yeah, this Chiefs team is being legit. It's hard to see them not making the Super Bowl this year after these past 2 weeks when they actually did have Rashee Rice as 9 of 9, 93 yards and a touchdown. That's the kind of performance that I expected with a Rashee Rice. And that's what he got back. And he just boosted this Chiefs offense even more from these first few weeks when the Chiefs ended up going 3-3 during his suspension time. But yeah, the Chiefs is absolutely going to keep winning games. They do have the Bills next week, so we're gonna see which team ends up winning from that one. I know the Bills does have the recent history within regular season games, but the Chiefs do have Rashee Rice back now, and the Bills is a little bit off from last year, so we'll see what ends up happening in that game. But that will be an exciting game for next week. But at the end of the day, Chiefs ended up just doing that well against the Commanders, and we'll see what happens. With that was my reactions to each NFL game of Week 8. If you liked this video, please hit the like button, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!